Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. How are you today?
I'm well, Dave. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for being here. We're going to update you on the meeting from the 17th, about an hour and a half. But before that, there was a work session with some topics we've talked about before.
Yes.
And time for some progress reports here of what's going on. The first relates to the police department. Give us an update there.
Yeah, so we had an update. We're working with Dr. Susan Harriet on this for our police department workplace culture assessment, and we developed a work plan based on some of the findings of the work that she's done. So reported out to the council about some of the meetings that have taken place and the progress we're making, as well as talked with the council a little bit about some council staff communication issues. So good to have that update, and we'll probably be circling back with the council every couple of months or so on that.
Next item that was discussed before the meeting and the work session was the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So give us a little recap of what led up to this and what that discussion was.
Yeah, so we've had discussion over probably the last couple years about the concept of having a Maple Grove specific Convention and Visitors Bureau, or CVB. And you know, for many years we've been part of Minneapolis Northwest Tourism, which today is comprised of the cities of Maple Grove, Brooklyn Park, and Brooklyn Center. We did provide notice to Minneapolis Northwest Tourism back in December. We have to provide a year's notice that we would be, during this year, considering leaving that organization and establishing our own Convention and Visitors Bureau. And just as a reminder, this is an organization that receives its funding from lodging tax. So lodging tax that is paid at hotels in Maple Grove is kind of what would help fund that operation, or solely fund that operation.
Sure.
So the direction of the council was to go ahead and proceed to establish a Maple Grove specific CVB. And so part of this work is we put together kind of a draft budget of what that might look like, kind of an outline of the organization. We're likely going to be working with a consultant on this that does work in this area to kind of help guide us in formulating that organization. It does get set up as a separate 501c(b), so it's its own kind of entity, but certainly high level of coordination with the city and Chamber of Commerce, but we'll be moving in that direction. So more to come throughout the year as we move through the process of establishing that organization.
Great. We'll keep people updated. Final note before the meeting was about the website. Long project here.
Yes.
How is it coming?
It's coming along really, really well. We're working with Civic Plus, which is an organization that are a business that that's their business. They do city websites all across the country, and they do it well. And so they have a very well-developed and prescriptive process for the development of that new website. And so we're at the point where we have a draft design of what that's going to look like. We wanted to share that with the council so that if they saw any concerns with that, we knew about that ahead of time, so that was shared with the council. We're also going to be looking at maybe updating some of our city stationery, those kinds of things. We're looking at kind of a different font, a more updated font for the website, and so you'd see that reflected there. So good review, positive review of that work, and we're looking at an August timeframe for rolling out that new website. So a lot of work to come in the next few months.
Exciting. Maybe a new logo right here behind us on the set as well. So more to come as we get closer to that.
Yeah.
Now to the meeting from the 17th, and again about an hour and a half in length, and one special time at the beginning of the meeting. We'll get to that in a second. But first, a few items pulled off of consent. The first related to National Night Out.
Yeah.
It is back.
It is back. We're planning for an in-person, full, regular National Night Out this year. And of course, it's always the first Tuesday in August. So this year it falls on August 3rd. So information will be going out to all the block captains about that, and planning for that event this year. But yeah, so our proclamation kind of setting the date for that, looking forward.
Very good. I know families disappointed last year that it didn't happen in neighborhoods, so good to have that back. Maple Grove Day is another one that's good to have back. That is coming back, but some discussion at the council related to some funding help. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had some discussion on the May 3rd meeting about Maple Grove Community Organization had come forward with a request for some assistance this year. I think they're struggling a bit in terms of fundraising and sponsorships from businesses. It's been a tough year for many businesses, and so struggling a little bit to put this event together financially, and so had come to the city with a request for that. And part of that response of, yes, we're willing to help you out, was we really want to have a regular parade this year instead of, they were sort of looking at something that was more drive-through in nature. And of course, they were planning that at the time, before
Sure.
the changes that we now are going through with regard to mass and spacing and capacity, those things changing now. So they're shifting gears and planning for, kind of a good old-fashioned parade. We even heard that there will be a couple marching bands. So I think people are starting
Very
to
good.
shift gears here. But some discussion of what level of assistance the city might provide. They had requested $20,000. Some of the council felt that we agreed to $10,000, and so they're going to go ahead and contribute the $10,000 to help support that operation this year, make sure Maple Grove Days happens. Council certainly views this as a one-time support, financial support for the event, but then invited MGCO to come back and talk about, maybe some updates given some of the changes in the event, the full
Right.
parade, that kind of a thing. Have they had more success in getting those sponsorships secured? So for now, we're going forward with the $10,000, but you might see MGCO come back at a future meeting.
All right, and we will mention Maple Grove Days a little bit later in our notes about the city and give you a few more things that might be coming up with that event. Special business for the night was Oath of Office.
Yeah.
And this was a long portion of the meeting with a lot of people in attendance to view this. And I understand this has been held back for a while,
has.
correct?
Yeah, so we've been, this swearing in of new, patrol officers and firefighters and our police staff that have been through promotion. This is a big deal for them and for their families, and so being able to have that happen kind of an in-person regular format is really kind of it's important to that new officer or that new employee and also their family, and it's important to the department. So we pushed some of these out to get to a point here where we could do these things more in person, and so we were able, and you're going to see this on upcoming agendas. We've got them stacked up here like O'Hare, but
Got it.
we swore in 4 new officers: Officer Cameron Beeman, Megan Lavander, Samuel Ortman, and Thomas Stoley. So these are all new officers to the department. They've some of them have completed their FTO a few months ago and have been out on the street alone. But we're really grateful for their service and for joining the department. And it was a great night to congratulate them and welcome them to the team.
Very good. Welcome to the new officers. Moving ahead on some items related to public hearings. Pelican Biothermal, Minnesota. This is a business that is coming from Plymouth to Maple Grove. Give us a little background there.
Yeah, this is a good news story. So Pelican Biothermal Pelican Biothermal is getting a Minnesota Investment Fund application off to the state for some funding to help with some equipment. They are moving from Plymouth up to the Red Rock building, which is just off of County Road 81.
Let's talk about a few easements in the city, a few little spots of land that need a little cleanup work. Where were these located?
Yeah, so one out at Edgewater, kind of on the west side of the city, just on the west side of Lord of Life Church there, and this is with regard to the Cook Lake development. And then we have also one on Weaver Lake Drive where they cleaned up some easements out there.
Let's move ahead to community development. 3 parcels of city-owned property to be sold. Interesting story behind these properties, an interesting story of who's coming. Tell us about this action on 73rd.
Yeah, this is another good news business job creation story. So we have 3 parcels of excess land that are located just off of 73rd. At one point in the past, it was thought that there could be another overpass there over the 94s, but through our comp plan process and then discussions through MnDOT, it was determined that this land could be disposed of and so sold for private use because we wouldn't have a public purpose for it going forward. So we were working with a company that's located next door in one of the multi-tenant buildings, Mechatronics. Interesting company. We had an opportunity to go out and tour their operations, and they work with a lot of robots, those kinds of things for automation for various companies, and so they purchase the robots from the vendor, and then they program them for the end users. They kind of sit in the middle of those end users and those who produce those type of robotic machinery. So very interesting operation.
Yes.
They're in a growth mode. A lot of companies moving through that automation process, whether, a lot of it in the med tech industry, which, they're situated quite well up here for that.
Right.
So currently they employ about 40 people. They're looking to grow to about 70. So being able to acquire this land and build a new building puts it back on the tax rolls and then provides for that job growth opportunity there along 73rd. So
Very nice.
really happy to be able to work this deal out with Mechatronics and have them stay here in Maple Grove.
Other items in community development talk about growth. The Arbor Lakes Business Park Phase 2 is coming. Tell us about that area.
Yeah, so this is another good news story on the business industry front. So the two buildings, the first phase of Arbor Lakes Business Park, are fully occupied with great companies that have brought great jobs to Maple Grove, and so they're proceeding with the next phase of this project, and it'll be the building right up along Elm Creek Boulevard, then just due east of the fountains. We paid special attention here to kind of that westerly edge of the building in terms of, you know, the architecture and the building materials, landscape, monumentation at the corner, wanting to make sure that this really sat up nicely against that retail edge there. So you'll probably see some activity on this site yet this summer, but this is, another great, you know, we've found right now if we have businesses looking for space, everything's kind of leased up and full. The Gannett building is fully leased. The Arbor Lakes Corporate Center up on Zachary, that one's fully, you know, they have just a little end cap left. So I think the growth in this type of use and this type of space is well warranted here.
So from good news in business front to good news in senior housing as well. Let's talk about the Minnesota Health Village 55 plus planned unit there. Tell us about that property and what the action was at the meeting. Yeah,
so this was part of the concept plan for the Minnesota Health Village, so the property up kind of behind the hospital, between the hospital and 94 there. So this is 169 units of 55 plus residential development, and this is a market rate project. So this one will get added in there. There's also planned for another, right now there's a market rate apartment, you know, just not age restricted, under construction, and then there's plans for another senior housing facility that would be more continuum of care type housing.
Meeting some needs in the community. Let's move a little further south. Village Arbor Lake Senior Housing, a little update to this proposal, which we talked about a little earlier. Yeah,
so this is Village Arbor Lakes. It's kind of on the north end of that, the commercial end of the Village Arbor Lakes, so just south of the existing apartments that are there. So this one had gotten development stage approval, was ready to go, but then they needed to make some tweaks to how the memory care space was constructed on the site, and so some building code changes to that. And so they needed to make some building changes to the building footprint, and so that was reviewed and approved that evening as well.
All right, now the department reports, a little update on what's coming up in the city. Community development and economic development. First, Planning Commission coming up on the 1st and also coming up on the 14th. What might be on the agenda?
Yeah, so June 1st we have Crocus Grove, and that is a 52 single family lot development, and this one connects through Dayton. So there is some development up there in Dayton that's in the Maple, you know, across the Maple Grove border, but it connects through Dayton north of the Rush Creek, so off the Fernbrook corridor there. So this is Crocus Grove, 52 single family lots up there. And then we have a proposal called Crew Car Wash, and that's for at the corner of Elm Creek Boulevard and Weaver Lake Road, and that's the former Highland Bank site. So that one will get reviewed by the Planning Commission on June 1st as well.
Then coming up on the 14th, talk about some additional retail up by Menards.
Yeah, so this is just north of Menards up there, a small retail operation that would be an Indian grocery store, so that'd be a popular use, I'm sure. And then a medical office building north of 610 up in the Austin Mutual area, so more medical office development.
Plenty of information for us to talk about in the future. Speaking of events coming up, how about Boston Scientific, a groundbreaking coming up? This has been something they've been planning on for quite some time. Yeah,
so Monday, May 24th at 11 a.m. they'll be celebrating their groundbreaking for their 4th building there. We're really excited to see Boston Scientific continue to expand in Maple Grove, so that'll be a nice celebration for them. And
one other note in community development, coming up a work session on the 7th. This relates to forest preservation. Give us a little preview.
Yeah, so the Arbor Committee has been discussing the forest preservation areas and the potential for conservation easements there, and so bringing that topic forward for discussion for the council.
Moving over to Public Works, City Engineering, a little update here related to Lawndale and Dunkirk. Give us a little recap of what has happened there recently and what's going ahead.
Yeah, so we had that very tragic accident probably a little over a week and a half ago now, where there was three fatalities there, and I think it raised a lot of concern in the neighborhoods out there about, you know, speed in that corridor and some of the intersections, you know, and I think this accident was a bit of an anomaly. The car was traveling at a very high rate of speed, and so I think, you know, it's sort of an anomaly to the corridor. But nonetheless, I think volumes have grown out on that corridor. So we're going to be taking a look out there, looking at speeds, looking at crash data on some of the more significant intersections, that kind of a thing. And we anticipate that coming back to the council in the next couple of months as we pull that data together. Just as a heads up, we are going to be doing more patrol out there
good to know.
for speed. And so what we often find is that it's usually the folks that live in the neighborhood that are speeding on those local streets. That's really, it's a collector street, it's a nice connector, but a lot of access to our local neighborhood. So we just really want to kind of alert everybody to watch your speed when you're out there, and because we are going to be doing some extra patrols.
Good to know. Your updates from the meeting first was something we've been covering for some time here, is the federal lobbying services. Tell us what was decided and why this is important for the city.
Yeah, so we at the last meeting had brought forward a proposal from Primacy Strategy Group to do some federal lobbying. There's a number of new federal funding programs that are either already in place or going to be coming down, and we talked about the opportunity, to position the city to be in line for some of those federal funding programs as they come through. So some discussion at the first time around the cost of their proposal, as well as wanting to understand some of the successes that they've had in the past in their work. And so we were able to negotiate a reduced rate for that work with Primacy, as well as provide the council with some information about some of their successes. So this one was approved, and it'll be a year. We'll measure, next year and see where we're at and how these various funding programs are rolling out. They'll also be able to assist us in kind of, the city of Maple Grove will be a recipient of the American Rescue Plan funds, and so there's federal guidance around how those funds can be expended, and we can lean on Primacy a little bit for that as well. So I think good activity, and we always say if you want to be served, you have to be at the table. And so I think this is a good opportunity for us to make sure that we're in the right place for some of these programs.
Final note from the meeting on May 17th is look at a couple meetings coming up ahead, and actually all of the meetings coming up ahead. What is happening June 7th? What will change? And then we've got a meeting changing in July as well.
Yeah, so we're rolling back to our pre-pandemic council meeting format where we'll have everybody in person. Right now we have the council chambers kind of set up as a big meeting room with tables spread out, and so council will be returning to its normal seating arrangement at the dais, and staff will return where they were, and the chairs will return to the chambers. And so just kind of trying to get back to normal operation there on June 7th. And then the council meeting, first meeting in July that would have been on July 6th will be canceled.
Okay.
So we'll have that second meeting in June, and then we'll push to July 19th for the next
normally
meeting.
Occurs each year around that July time frame.
Yep.
All right, there's your recap from the meeting on the 17th. Maple Grove's website, maplegrovemn.gov, for a lot of information that was covered there, and a lot of this that's coming up. Let's talk about some things happening in town. First of all, offices being closed. We've got a holiday coming up.
Yes. Memorial Day falls on May 31st, so offices will be closed that day.
Okay. Older Americans Month, something that a group in the city of Maple Grove is helping recognize. What is this?
Yeah, so the Age-Friendly Maple Grove Initiative is recognizing May as Older Americans Month, and the city is grateful for the important and wonderful ways our older citizens contribute to the community. And then we just want to acknowledge the work of our Age-Friendly Maple Grove group as well.
A little bit of a theme in some of our notes here will be about cleanup and getting out and about this spring. First cleanup day, a chance to get rid of some stuff. What day is this?
Yeah, so this is the drop-off day. Saturday, May 22nd is the day to bring unwanted items to the Maple Grove Public Works facility, which is located at 9030 Forest View Lane. This event is held from 8 a.m. till noon, and city crews will be there to accept appliances, scrap metal, tires, and propane tanks. Electronics are not accepted. However, the Hennepin County drop-off site in Brooklyn Park is a good option for some of those items. We do encourage people to visit the website and look for the list of items, specifically they can bring to the drop-off event.
Very good. We'll give you that website again at the end of the program. Here's a fun event coming up. It seems like this just ended, but it's back again, the photo contest.
Yeah, so the annual Maple Grove Moments photo contest starts June 1st, and then residents are invited to submit their photos through noon on July 13th, and we have a portal set up on the city website. We do that all electronically now, and so I think people have found that online process to be quite easy. Most people are, digital cameras. They're all able to upload them pretty quickly. And last year we received over 500 entries. So,
fantastic.
And again, we do use those photos in all of our publications and our social media, our website, those kinds of things. So it's a great way to see your work reflected in our city communications.
Very good. Get out and have some fun, taking some photos. Firefighter Recruitment, we've been talking about this. They've set up some dates. When are those dates coming if people are interested?
Yeah, so recruitment is underway for citizens to join the Maple Grove Fire Department. We do have a number of events coming up. We will have existing current firefighters there for people to talk to. We encourage people to bring their family so that, being a firefighter is really kind of a family commitment. Oftentimes, that pager goes off during dinner a lot of times. So
Understand.
it's good that everybody knows how that's going to work. But we do have recruitment sessions coming up on Monday, May 24th, Tuesday, June 28th. Nope. Tuesday, June 8th.
Okay.
And then Thursday, June 24th, Saturday, July 10th, and the evening ones are at 7 p.m. and then that Saturday one is at 10 a.m. Again, all the information's available on the website, so for dates and times and which station it's at, make sure you check the website.
Perfect.
And that's mgfire.info. Just want to make sure folks understand, what we're really looking for is for people who are interested in serving their community. We provide all the training and education that you need, so we're just, we're looking for that type of applicant that's really just interested in service, and we'll train you and give you everything you need to be a firefighter.
Very good.
Yep.
Maple Grove Days, we mentioned it earlier and some of the support that's coming in. Now let's give you some details. What are the days and what are some of the other fun activities that'll be coming?
Yeah, so July 14th through the 18th is Maple Grove Days this year, and I think, as I mentioned, they're really trying to shift and adjust to the new guidelines as things are opening up and restrictions are going away. So making that change to the regular parade down 89th. The medallion hunt will be held this year. All the activities at the Maple Grove Community Center with a wide variety of entertainment and activities. The Business Expo, I think they're still planning to do that outside.
Okay.
So that would be an outside event, car show, fireworks. So all the activities, some things may be tweaked a little bit or a little bit less, but they're really trying to strive for a pretty normal Maple Grove Days this year.
We'll keep talking about it as it gets closer. Now here's a fun new activity for people, and this is for everyone. You can tell by the name, Intergenerational Garden Club. Give us a little idea of what this is going to be.
Yeah, so this is a free community garden club for ages 12 and up, and the first meeting is May 20th at 4 p.m. in the Teen Center at the Community Center. Maple Grove Youth Outreach and the 55 Forward programs have teamed up with Lowe's to offer standing gardens at the Community Center for the club to use. So this is a new initiative between our senior center and our teen center, bringing both generations together.
Park and Rec, obviously busy at this time of the year. They're getting ready for summer and some of the programs. How can people register?
Yeah, registration's fully in swing on our website, so we just encourage people to go check that out. We really did try to provide a pretty full offering for this summer. Again, you're planning during a time where you don't really know where the rules are going to be, and I know they're adjusting on the fly as well, but lots of opportunities there for summer rec programs.
All right, also some jobs in that area as well, so go to the city's website to find out more about some of those opportunities. The Senior Center and other centers at the Community Center, we're opening back up there as well. Give us the list.
We are. The Senior Center will fully open on June 1st and include drop-in social groups. The Teen Center is set to open for traditional drop-in social gatherings starting Memorial Day weekend.
Here's another one in the Park and Rec area that's been sought after, cricket pitch.
Yeah.
There's one coming. Where?
Yeah, so this is up in the Boundary Creek area, Boundary Creek Park, and the construction on that started this week on the turf pitch, and it's really just pretty simple construction project. It's just the installation of a turf pitch, so a strip really of turf, of artificial turf.
Right.
And that project should take about 2 weeks to complete.
Something to look forward to. Also something young ones have been looking forward to is the splash pad.
Yeah.
It's coming back soon?
Yeah, we're planning to open that on May 28th. So that's I think that's the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. So that'll be welcome.
Yes, people will get out there for that. Also, the market is back, the farmers market. What are the dates there and what are some of the fun things going on?
Yeah, they're back at the community center. They had the kickoff last week. They had beautiful weather. Looks like it'll be nice again for this Thursday. So farmers market from 3 to 7 every Thursday now through October. We do trim up those hours as we get into the fall months, but a lot of the early season produce, asparagus was very popular, and rhubarb.
Good.
I think those things are present there. And then a lot of flowers, hanging baskets, those kinds of things. So encourage people to get out to the farmers market this Thursday.
Final couple notes related to the outdoors and keeping care of things and also keeping an eye on things. First is grass cutting, just some guidelines from the city on grass cutting.
Yeah, so just a reminder that our city code allows for a maximum height of 8 inches of grass in your yard, and so we just ask for people to take care of that, make sure they're managing their yard and take care of any noxious weeds as well. We do get out, we do get a lot of complaints in the summertime about yard maintenance, those kinds of things, and we do have some additional help following up with those complaints this summer.
And if you get that yard waste and want to get rid of it, there's a place in Maple Grove to do that that's been there for years.
Yeah, so the yard waste site, of course, is open. It's been very busy every time I've driven by lately.
Yes.
People are busy in their yards, so grass clippings, leaves, other yard waste is accepted Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you just need to have your ID to prove you're a Maple Grove resident, and then it's free for your use.
Final note is keeping an eye on the emerald ash borer. The city doing quite a bit. Give us a quick update there.
Yeah, so we are out working on our emerald ash borer management program, and some of that does involve tree removal for those trees that have kind of been damaged to the point where they can't be saved. We do have about 3,600 public ash trees in the right-of-way in residential neighborhoods, so this will be impactful as we move through the neighborhoods and determine what we can save and what with treatment, and then what needs to be removed. So we're working 2 areas, the Rice Lake area and then the Boundary Creek area are kind of the 2 neighborhoods that seem most impacted at this time. So we have a plan over the next really quite a few years to kind of deal with different neighborhoods as they come along, kind of take it in bites if we can.
Right.
So if you see that activity happening, it's related to that Emerald Ash Borer program.
And again, if there are questions, you can go to the city's website. We'll give that to you in just a second. Heidi, thanks so much again for your time and for the update from the city. Again, that meeting was on the 17th. Here's that next meeting date. It is coming up on June 7th. That is a Monday, 7:30 at the Government Center. And again, back to a regular meeting. MapleGroveMN.gov, the website in the middle of the screen. If you have questions about some of the programs or events that we talked about, certainly go there to find out more. Phone number, again, at the bottom of the screen. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.